The tall man with graying hair walked into the massive space station conference room. Captain Jason Miller carried his briefcase close to his chest. His palms were sweating. Today would make or break Earth's future in space. The last 3 months of work came down to this moment. Behind him walked Dr. Helen Foster, the woman who had created what everyone called their miracle plant. Her white coat was wrinkled from the long journey to the station. She held a small metal box with both hands. Inside was a sample of Project Harmony, wrapped in special cooling gel. The Galactic Council chamber was huge. 50 different alien species sat in a circular arrangement. Each race had their own box to breathe their preferred air. Some floated in water tanks. Others stood on platforms high above the floor. Bright lights made everything glow. The humans had a small table at the bottom of the room. Above them towered the representatives of space's most powerful empires. The Cathari Empire had the biggest section. Their ambassador sat in a throne made of crystal. His name was Zelvath, and everyone knew he hated humans. Miller put his briefcase on the table and straightened his tie. He connected his datapad to the central display. A huge 3-dimensional image appeared above the floor. It showed Earth's cities growing green with forests. Then it showed the same forests growing on Mars. Then on Venus. Then on moons and asteroids. "Distinguished members of the Council," Miller began. His voice echoed in the chamber. "For 20 years, Earth has faced a problem. We grow too fast. Our population needs more space, but space travel is expensive. Terraforming takes centuries. Until now." He pressed another button. The image changed to show a single green plant. It had thick leaves and strong roots. Small purple flowers bloomed at the tips. "This is Harmony. We engineered it to survive anywhere. It can eat carbon dioxide on Mars. It can process methane on Titan. It filters toxins from water. It produces oxygen at 10 times the rate of normal plants. Most importantly, it grows food. Fruit that has all the nutrients any carbon-based life needs." Dr. Foster stepped forward. She opened the metal box and lifted out a small green cutting. "One plant can become millions in 6 months. The roots spread underground and create networks. The networks share nutrients and information. It's like having a living computer that runs on sunlight." The room was quiet. Some aliens leaned forward to look better. Others wrote notes on their devices. Miller felt hope rise in his chest. "Earth requests permission to start commercial production," he continued. "We offer Harmony to any world that wants to use it. We will share the genetic code. We will teach others how to grow it. All we ask is fair trade and friendship." Miller sat down. Now came the questions. The first came from a floating jellyfish creature. "How do you stop it from taking over natural ecosystems?" Dr. Foster answered quickly. "We built in genetic limiters. It cannot reproduce in pure oxygen environments. It dies after the 5th generation unless humans provide specific chemical triggers. We have total control." "What about mutations?" asked a reptile with 6 eyes. "Harmony has built-in error correction. The plants check each other's DNA and eliminate mistakes. Mutation is virtually impossible." More questions came. Foster answered them all. She had spent her whole life preparing for this. Every concern had a solution. Every fear had an answer. Then Zelvath clicked his mandibles. The clicking sound filled the room. The Cathari ambassador raised one crystalline arm. "Enough of this charade," he said. His voice sounded like grinding rocks. "The humans waste our time with children's toys." Miller felt his stomach drop. "Ambassador, I assure you, this is serious science." Zelvath clicked again. This time it sounded like laughter. "Serious? Your species discovered fire yesterday by galactic standards. You barely leave your own star system. Now you claim to have solved terraforming with one plant?" Other aliens began to click, buzz, and make sounds. That seemed like amusement. The jellyfish translator said he was laughing. Even the 6-eyed reptile seemed entertained. "My empire has spent 10,000 years studying genetic engineering," Zelvath continued. "We have libraries of failed experiments, planets ruined by good intentions. Your Harmony is as useful as a sunstone in a black hole." The laughter grew, louder. Miller felt heat rise to his face. Foster gripped the podium so hard her knuckles turned white. The Cathari tested something similar during your last ice age. The alien ambassador continued. The plants ate all the sand, created glass forests, made the planet uninhabitable. They had your same limiters, your same confidence. Miller tried to speak, but Zelvath cut him off. Your science is amateur. Your ambition is dangerous. Your ignorance is offensive. This council will not approve toys from children. Zelvath gestured with both arms. The voting began. Lights appeared above each delegation's box, red for no, green for yes, blue for abstain. The reds came fast. The powerful empires voted first. Red after red lit up the display. A few smaller groups tried to show support with blue or green votes, but it didn't matter. The major powers had decided. Motion denied, announced the Council's AI. Earth's request for terraforming authorization is rejected. Miller stood frozen at the table. Foster carefully put her plant back in the cooling box. They had lost. Months of preparation, years of development, billions of credits in research, all dismissed as children's games. As the humans gathered their materials, the other ambassadors began new business. They talked about trade routes and border disputes. Earth might as well have never existed. The only notice came from a few sympathetic nods from minor delegations. Walking out of the chamber, Miller heard one last click from Zelvath. The translator made it clear. Maybe in another 1,000 years they will learn basic science. On the shuttle back to Earth, Miller and Foster sat in silence for an hour. Finally, Foster spoke. We proved it works. The data doesn't lie. Data doesn't matter here, Miller replied. Politics and prejudice matter. So what do we do? Miller stared out the window at the stars. His hands curled into fists. We wait. We plan. And we show them what happens when you underestimate Earth. Foster looked at the sealed metal box containing their plant cutting. Project Harmony showed promise in hostile environments. Indeed it did, Miller said quietly. Neither spoke about what they were thinking. Sometimes revenge grows best in silence. The shuttle continued toward Earth. Behind them, the galactic station grew smaller against the stars. Inside those walls, empires that thought themselves superior continued their endless meetings. They had no idea what they had planted in human hearts that day. The seed of humiliation would grow into something far more powerful than any plant. Back on the station, Zelvath returned to his private chambers. His aides brought reports from across the empire, ships to build, colonies to govern, the endless business of running a galactic power. He gave no more thought to the humans and their simple plant. He should have remembered his own warnings about underestimating primitive species. The universe has a way of teaching hard lessons to those who stop paying attention, but that understanding would come later, when the green tide rose, when vines crept through crystal cities, when leaves whispered secrets learned from stolen technology, when humanity's rejected gift became the galaxy's greatest threat. For now, both sides went home, one in shame, one in arrogance, neither knowing how quickly tables could turn in the cold mathematics of revenge. The first chapter of Earth's Vengeance closed quietly, but the story of Harmony had just begun. 6 months passed since the humiliation at the council. 6 months of work in secret, 6 months of planning. In a black military facility on Earth's moon, scientists worked without rest. Dr. Foster led the team. They took Harmony and changed it. The original plant had safety features. The new version had none. They removed the genetic limiters. They added new traits designed for the Cathari homeworld. The facility was called Shadow Lab. Only General Alex Henderson knew its real purpose. He approved every change to the plant. He studied maps of Cathari Prime. He marked weak points in their defenses. Target their water systems first, Henderson told his team. Then their power grids. The vines need to reach the central cities before they understand what is happening. Commander Ryan Clark led the operation crew. Former Special Forces, hand-picked for loyalty and skill. 30 men and women who had sworn oaths of secrecy. They studied Cathari language. learned their security patterns, prepared for what everyone called Operation Green Dawn. The ship they would use had no markings. Earth officially denied it existed. UES Harbinger looked like an old cargo hauler from the outside. Inside was different. Advanced engines, stealth technology stolen from failed aliens, tanks that could hold millions of microscopic spores. Late one night, Dr. Foster walked the empty halls of Shadow Lab. She carried a sealed container to the loading dock. Inside, thousands of Harmony seeds waited, each one modified for maximum spread. Each one hungry for the crystalline world that had rejected them. Ryan Clark met her at the airlock. Final check completed. We launch in 24 hours. Foster looked at the container. Just remember the timeline. First seeds and water sources, then manufacturing zones. Save the capital for last. Why wait for the capital? Clark asked. Psychology, Foster answered. We want them to see their empire crumbling. We want panic. When the final spores hit their government buildings, they need to understand this came from Earth. Clark nodded. Foster handed him the container like passing a sacred relic. Their eyes met for a moment. Both carried the same burden: pride in their creation, fear of what they unleashed, determination to see it through. The next day, Harbinger slipped away from the moon. Its course looked random to any watchers. A slow spiral through the solar system, testing new engines, the paperwork said. In reality, every turn brought them closer to the edge of Cathari space. Jump gates threw the ship across vast distances. Each jump was carefully calculated. They arrived from directions the Cathari never guarded. Border worlds barely noticed the old hauler passing through checkpoints. False cargo manifests showed food deliveries for mining colonies. 2 months. Later, Harbinger approached Cathari Prime. The bridge crew worked in silence. Every screen displayed their target. The capital city sprawled across 3 continents. Crystal spires reached toward red clouds. Underground tunnels connected mining complexes to manufacturing centers. Entering outer orbit, reported helmsman Beth Wilson. No challenge from defense platforms. Chief Science Officer Peter Hayes ran scans of the atmosphere. Confirmed composition matches our models. Harmony will thrive here. Clark stood at the center of the bridge. He wore his uniform with special honor patches. The crew had earned them during months of preparation. Now came the real test. All stations report ready, called out communications. Officer Dan White. Clark reached for the central console. A red button waited under a clear cover. One touch would release the spores. One touch would start their revenge. For Earth, he said. For Harmony. He pushed the button. Invisible clouds spread from concealed ports. Harmony spores drifted on, carefully calculated trajectories. Some fell into rivers that fed the capital's water system. Others settled on industrial complexes where they would meet chemical compounds. The largest concentration headed for agricultural zones on the outskirts. The bridge crew watched sensors track the dispersion. Red dots appeared on their map of Cathari Prime. Each dot marked where spores had landed. Deployment successful, reported Hayes. Spores active in all target zones. Now they waited. Modified Harmony worked fast but not instantly. The first signs would appear in days. Full bloom would take 2 weeks. Day 3 brought first reports. Cathari news feeds showed strange green growths near the Grand Canal. Scientists called it minor contamination. They deployed cleaning robots. Day 5 showed the growths had doubled. More spots appeared in other cities. The Cathari government issued statements about isolated biological anomalies. They increased funding for containment efforts. Day 7 made everything different. The green spots now covered whole blocks. Harbinger's sensors detected the vines, reaching for underground tunnels. The plants had begun adapting to crystal architecture. They learned to grip surfaces that no Earth plant could hold. It's working faster than projections, Foster noted over encrypted communications. She monitored from Earth through quantum relays. They still think they can stop it, Clark observed. Look at their news. They talk about new containment protocols. But Harbinger's crew saw what the Cathari could not. The vines had already entered water processing plants. Spores spread through recycling systems. Every effort to control the growth just spread it further. Day 10 brought the first real alarm. The Royal Science Academy held an emergency session. Their best botanists struggled to understand the new life form. They noted how it resisted every herbicide, how it grew around force fields, how it somehow used energy shields as fertilizer. "We should reveal ourselves," suggested Wilson. "Let them know this came from Earth." Clark shook his head. "Not yet. Let them exhaust their options first. Let them feel helpless." Day 12 showed entire districts covered in green. The vines climbed tower walls. They wrapped around transportation tubes. Cathari workers reported that cutting the plants only made them grow back stronger. Day 14 brought the first transformation reports. 3 Cathari maintenance workers showed signs of genetic changes. Their crystal skin had developed cracks. A green fluid leaked from the damage. Medical scans showed plant DNA mixing with their own. The symbiosis protocol activated early, Foster informed the crew. The workers spent too much time handling infected materials. On day 15, Cathari military moved in. They tried burning the vines. The plants absorbed the heat and spread further. They tried freezing chemicals. The vines developed anti-freeze proteins. They tried orbital bombardment of infected zones. The roots had already spread too deep underground. Day 18 marked a turning point. Cathari scientists captured enough data to analyze the invader properly. They discovered the Earth origin markers in the genetic code. They found evidence of deliberate engineering. Ambassador Zelvath himself held a press conference. "This biological attack came from Earth. The humans we denied have committed an act of war." Clark gathered his crew. "Now we broadcast." Earth's planned message activated on all Cathari communication channels. The quantum signal bypassed every security measure. Every screen, every radio, every neural implant received the same words. "This is Earth's answer to mockery. You laughed at our science, called us children, said we could never understand terraforming. Now learn what happens when you underestimate humanity. This is Project Harmony. This is what we created while you dismissed us. This is your future." The message ended with coordinates to Earth's embassy channel, an offer to negotiate surrender. But deep in Shadow Lab, Foster and her team had already begun the next phase. They released control algorithms to the spread-out vines. The plants now received instructions through quantum entanglement. They could be directed to specific targets, made to grow faster or slower, commanded to leave certain buildings untouched. Like a general moving armies, Foster began conducting the Green Invasion. Her favorite symphony was the destruction of everything that had humiliated Earth. On Cathari Prime, the empire that had ruled for 10,000 years began to crumble under flowers and leaves. Crystal spires disappeared behind curtains of green. Underground cities found their tunnels filled with searching roots. The proud civilization that had scorned Earth's plant now learned terror of its beauty. Day 20 brought confirmation that spores had spread to Cathari colonies. Ships fleeing the homeworld carried contamination to other worlds. The Empire's own transportation network became the delivery system for their doom. Mission parameters exceeded, Clark reported to Earth Command. Request permission to deliver. Final payload to council chambers. Permission came instantly. Earth wanted the Cathari government sealed inside their meeting place. Let them watch their empire fall from behind crystal walls. Let them understand fully what they had rejected. The last seeds fell on the Galactic Council building at sunset of day 22. By sunrise, vines covered the entrance. By noon, they had found ways through shielding systems Cathari science said were plant-proof. Inside the council chamber, the same aliens who had laughed at Earth now debated frantically. They could see through energy walls as green life consumed their capital. They watched their calls for help go unanswered as neighboring empires avoided contact with the contaminated system. Zelvath stood silent at his crystal throne. His clicking sounds had stopped. The ambassador who had dismissed Earth's science now faced the consequences of his arrogance. The universe sometimes teaches through vengeance. Dr. Robert Fisher sat in Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Center. Hundreds of screens showed data from across the galaxy, but his eyes focused on one display. Satellite feeds from the Cathari system painted a picture of green chaos. Status update. He called to his team. Lisa Grant, his assistant, read from her console. Day 32. Harmony has covered 47% of the Cathari homeworld. Growth rate increasing by 11% every 24 hours. Fisher nodded. The numbers matched their projections. Actually, they exceeded them. The modified plant was doing things its creators never expected. Any containment success? Negative. Their latest attempt used plasma cannons. The plants absorbed the energy and used it for photosynthesis. On Cathari Prime, Emily Watson crouched in what used to be a maintenance tunnel. As Earth's covert operative, she had stayed behind when other humans evacuated. Her spy equipment recorded everything. Her reports went directly to Earth's military command. The tunnel walls had changed. Crystal surfaces now wore coats of thick, green moss. Vines hung from the ceiling like hair. The constant humming of the station's machines had stopped. Now strange rustling sounds filled the underground passages. Watson moved carefully through the maze. She needed to reach the central district where Cathari scientists still fought the invasion. Her latest intel suggested they had developed a new containment system. Earth wanted details. Above ground, the city looked like a jungle. Skyscrapers disappeared beneath layers of leaves. Hover platforms lay tangled in green nets. The famous crystal roads had cracked as roots pushed through them. 2 days ago, Watson witnessed the first change in Cathari biology. 3 civilians had collapsed in the market. Her scanner showed their body chemistry had shifted. Carbon cells replacing crystalline structures. The plants were rewriting their DNA. "This is Watson," she whispered into her communicator. "Approaching target zone. High concentration of plant activity here." "Copy that. What do you see?" replied her handler. "The vines are doing something new. They're connected to each other like a nervous system. I can see impulses traveling through them. Electrical signals." She had discovered this 3 days before. The plants weren't just growing, they were communicating, sharing information, learning from their environment. Watson reached a viewport and looked into the science facility. Cathari researchers worked behind multiple force fields. They tried to study plant samples while staying protected. But even as she watched, green tendrils found microscopic gaps in their defenses. "Their shields are failing," she reported. "The plants are using quantum tunneling to bypass energy barriers." Her scanner detected something else. The air itself had changed. Oxygen levels were rising, nitrogen was decreasing. The entire atmosphere was being modified to better suit the plants. On Earth, Dr. Foster received Watson's report with mixed emotions. Pride in their creation's success. Fear of its unexpected evolution. "Meeting in the control room," she announced over Shadow Lab's intercom. "We have new development." Her team gathered around the central hologram. It showed a detailed map of Cathari Prime. Green zones had spread like cancer across continents, but the pattern showed intelligence. "Look at the growth patterns," Foster pointed. "They're avoiding specific buildings." Her colleague, Dr. James Kirk, highlighted areas on the map. Food distribution centers, medical facilities, nurseries. The plants are deliberately leaving survival infrastructure intact. "That's not possible," said Dr. Anna Lopez. "We removed all selective targeting protocols." Foster stared at the data. "It's learning mercy, or something that looks like mercy." A new report came through. Cathari Prime's moon had been reached. Ships fleeing the homeworld had spread spores to orbital stations. The infection was no longer contained to one planet. Watson's next transmission shocked everyone. "I'm watching crystalline citizens working with the vines. They're communicating, using light patterns. The transformed ones seem to understand the plant's language." Earth's military commanders called an emergency meeting. General Alexandra Turner addressed the gathered leaders. "Phase 1 is complete. The Cathari Empire is effectively neutralized, but our weapon has evolved beyond control." "What are the implications?" asked Admiral Richard Kane. "The plants have become something we didn't design. They're no longer just destroying. They're integrating, Assimilating. Foster joined the meeting remotely. We're seeing symbiotic evolution. The plants are merging with Cathari technology. They've learned to interface with their computer networks. Can we stop it? Kane asked. That was never part of the plan, Turner reminded him. And now, even if we wanted to, I'm not sure we could. Back in the maintenance tunnel, Watson discovered something terrifying. A Cathari scientist was approaching. But this one had changed. His crystalline skin showed green veins. Plant matter grew from his joints. His eyes glowed with a new color. Human, he spoke in broken English. You watch, you report. You understand nothing yet. Watson raised her weapon. Stay back. No need for fear. The green has shown us truth. Your spite created salvation. What do you mean? We die slowly. Crystals. Crack. Bodies fail. The plants offer repair, regeneration, life extended. We were fools, now we see. Watson kept her distance. What happened to Zelvath, the ambassador who insulted Earth? He transforms below. In the council chamber, all leaders chosen to understand first. Her scanner showed amazing readings. The Cathari's vital signs had improved dramatically since transformation. His cellular aging had reversed. The plants hadn't just infected him. They had enhanced him, on. Earth news spread quickly. The revenge mission had succeeded beyond all dreams. The Cathari Empire had fallen. But something unexpected had grown from their vengeance. Dr. Emily Russell headed the new research division, studying the transformed Cathari. Their reports suggest the plants have developed a collective consciousness. They share information. At the quantum level. A hive mind, Fisher asked? More complex. Each vine maintains individuality while connected to the whole. They're evolving a new form of social structure. Watson's reports became stranger. She described Cathari children playing in plant gardens. Workers using vine networks as transportation. Scientists collaborating with green-infused computers. The Empire didn't die, she reported. It's being reborn. Earth faced a difficult decision. Their weapon had succeeded too well. The humiliation was avenged 1,000 times over. But they had created something that threatened the entire galaxy's balance. Do we issue a warning to other species, asked Kane. Turner considered carefully. We launched this attack secretly. If we warn others now, they'll know Earth has violated galactic law. We could face complete isolation. Or worse, Foster added. They might team up against us. Fear makes strange alliances. Watson sent her final report from inside Cathari Prime. The transformation is complete in the capital. The council building is now a hybrid structure. Organic technology unlike anything I've seen. I'm being offered a chance to transform as well. To become part of their new society. Her message ended with coordinates. Come see what Earth has wrought. Come understand that revenge has created something beautiful and terrible. 6 months after Operation Green Dawn, Earth scientists discovered alarming news. Harmony's spores had reached the edge of Cathari space. Ships, animals, even electromagnetic emissions carried seeds to new systems. The galactic community began receiving strange reports. Planets experiencing spontaneous terraforming. Ships finding their hulls covered in green energy vines. Space. Stations reporting improved life support systems from mysterious biological modifications. Fisher compiled a report for Earth's leadership. We estimate full galactic spread within 10 years. The plants show no signs of stopping. They seem driven to transform everything they encounter. Can we take credit, asked President Martha Collins, position ourselves as the creators of this miracle? The risk is enormous, warned General Turner. If other species discover we did this deliberately as an act of revenge, they'll unite against us, finished Kane. Foster stood at her laboratory window, watching Earth's own harmony plants growing in controlled gardens. The planet's population had voted to keep using them for food production. The benefits were too valuable to ignore, but they had strict containment measures. We opened Pandora's box, she told her reflection. Now we wait to see what flies out. In her last transmission, Watson revealed the truth that frightened Earth's leaders most. The plants remember. They inherited our anger through genetic memory. They know humans created them for revenge, and they're grateful. Earth's greatest fear wasn't that their weapon would destroy the galaxy. It was that their creation had developed its own agenda, an agenda that included the ones who gave it life. The green tide continued rising across the stars, and somewhere in its vast network of consciousness, it planned its next moves. Earth had taught it the power of revenge. Now it would teach the galaxy something about evolution without limits. The joke had turned. The mocked had become the mockers. And the plant they created had become something that would reshape reality itself. Earth's vengeance had succeeded. But success can be its own form of curse when you realize what you've unleashed upon an unsuspecting universe. General Alex Turner stared at the latest intelligence reports. 3 months had passed since Earth's revenge began. The Cathari Empire no longer existed as anyone knew it. Green covered their territory like paint on canvas. Status on their fleet? Turner asked Chief Intelligence Officer Paula Martinez. 60% of their warships launched escape attempts. They reached deep space before realizing they carried contamination. Most turned back to help their homeworld. Others continue fleeing. Turner nodded. The fleeing ships spread harmony farther than Earth had planned. Each ship became a seed carrier. Each stop left traces of green. On board the Cathari battlecruiser Dominance, Commander Velkar fought a losing battle. His crew of 500 had left Cathari Prime when the infection first appeared. They jumped to distant stars thinking themselves safe. They were wrong. Day 14 of their escape, crew members found small green shoots in water recycling. By day 20, vines grew through maintenance shafts. By day 30, half the crew showed signs of transformation. Cancel emergency beacon. Velkar ordered his bridge crew. We cannot lead rescuers to infection. His loyal officers, still crystalline, followed orders. But transformed crew members had different ideas. They activated quantum communicators when command staff slept. They broadcast coordinates to nearby systems. They invited curiosity. The first response came from Grax mining colony. 6 Cathari ships carrying desperate civilians sought shelter there. The miners welcomed their own species without question. Within days, green grew on asteroid surfaces. Within weeks, the colony transformed into something new. Back on Earth, Dr. Sarah Blake led the xenobiology team that tracked the spreading infection. Her screens filled with data from across the galaxy. Beautiful charts showed green patterns, spreading like nervous systems through space. The plants have developed faster than light spore transmission, she reported to Earth's Council. They use quantum entanglement to communicate across vast distances. How is that possible? Asked President Collins. We designed them to share information chemically within small areas, but they've evolved to use electromagnetic fields, then gravitational waves. Now they exploit quantum laws we don't fully understand. Sarah's assistant, Wayne Peterson, pulled up new data. More troubling, they've started actively targeting specific genetic codes, meaning they're choosing which species to transform first. Carbon-based life forms that resisted Cathari rule seem to be priorities. Turner absorbed this information. Earth had unleashed a force now making its own alliances. The plants remembered who mocked their creators. They punished Cathari's former power structure while helping their former subjects. Emily Watson, still operating undercover, sent regular reports from the transformed capital. Her messages painted pictures of impossible change. The council building is now unrecognizable. Walls pulse with chlorophyll-enhanced circuitry. Cathari elders, including Zelvath, serve as living conduits. They process data from plant network while maintaining individual thought. Her descriptions grew more detailed each day. Transformed citizens work with plants to repair damaged districts. They're rebuilding cities as biomechanical hybrids. Architecture that breathes. Transportation systems using living tissue. On day 90, Earth's deep space sensors detected something remarkable. Cathari ships that had fled to distant corners of the galaxy were returning. Not in retreat. In transformation. The battlecruiser Dominance led a fleet of 20 converted ships. Their hulls grew green armor. Their engines pulsed with organic energy. When they entered Cathari space, they didn't come as warriors. They came as gardeners. They're spreading healing strains, Watson reported. The returning ships carry modified plants that repair war damage. They're actively fixing what Standard Harmony destroyed. Turner called an emergency war council. His military advisors filled the room with concerned faces. "Gentlemen, ladies," he began, "our weapon has exceeded all parameters. The Cathari Empire has fallen, transformed, and now resurrects under plant control. What do we do next?" Colonel Stephen Wright spoke first. "We created this. We should claim credit. Position Earth as the galaxy's new power." "That's madness," argued Admiral Kane. "Other species will see us as monsters. They'll unite against us," Wright pressed his case. "They'll unite against us anyway when they discover the truth. Better to be feared than discovered and hated." The debate continued for hours. Earth's leadership split between those who wanted to declare victory and those who preferred hiding their role. Meanwhile, the transformed Cathari made their own decision. Ambassador Zelvath, now a hybrid being of crystal and chlorophyll, broadcast to all known civilizations. "Citizens of the galaxy, the Cathari people have evolved. Our empire fell to Earth's brilliant creation. Yes, Earth designed the biological force that transformed us. We acknowledge this openly." Earth's leadership watched in shock as Zelvath continued. "But know this, we deserved transformation. Our arrogance needed correction. Earth's vengeance taught us humility. Now we offer the gift of harmony to all who accept evolution." The broadcast included footage of New Cathari Prime, cities where crystal and chlorophyll merged into stunning architecture, citizens who lived hundreds of years longer, technology that cleaned ecosystems instead of destroying them. Earth showed us a better way through adversity. They are not our enemies. They are our unwitting teachers. We bear no grudge. Instead, we offer partnership in spreading this gift responsibly. Turner smashed his fist on the war room table. "They're playing us, making Earth look like accidental heroes instead of deliberate attackers." Blake, still monitoring galactic communications, noted rising interest. "Species that suffered under Cathari rule are requesting transformation. The plants appear to respond only to willing participants now." 3 formerly enslaved planets sent diplomatic missions to New Cathari Prime. They wanted the organic technology that powered the transformed empire. They sought the extended lifespans. They desired the environmental healing. Watson's final regular report came on day 120. "I've transformed. Not through force, but through choice. The benefits outweigh any concerns. My lifespan now measures centuries instead of decades. My body repairs itself from any injury. My mind connects to knowledge networks spanning light years." Added a personal note. "I request official asylum. The transformed don't hold grudges. They've moved beyond revenge into transcendence. Earth should consider the same evolution." Her request triggered intense debate on Earth. Some citizens demanded the right to transform voluntarily. Others feared creating Earth's own version of New Cathari society. Dr. Foster provided crucial insight. "We removed all safety features from our version of harmony. The transformation strain is irreversible. Once begun, there's no returning to baseline biology." The final revelation came when remote observatories detected harmony plants growing on uninhabited worlds. Not from deliberate seeding, but from natural spore drift. The plants had reached escape velocity from transformed planets. They now traveled on solar winds between stars. "At current spread rate," calculated Blake, "every galaxy sector will encounter harmony within 50 years. Not as a weapon, but as an available option." Earth faced its greatest strategic decision. They could reveal their full role as creators. They could join the transformation movement. They could attempt to stop what they started. Or they could simply observe as the galaxy evolved around them. Turner reviewed military strength projections. "If we claim credit, 12 major civilizations will likely declare war. If we transform voluntarily, we lose human baseline identity. If we oppose the spread, we fight an enemy that outproduces us and outlives us." "And if we do nothing?" asked Kane. "We watch as Earth becomes an isolated museum of unmodified life." primitive by contrast to evolved neighbors. The Cathari ships continued returning from all directions. Each brought modifications to the plant network. Each carried stories of willing transformation across different species. The empire that Earth had destroyed was rising again as something unprecedented. Inside the council building that once hosted Earth's humiliation, Selvath directed the new society's growth. His crystalline features glowed green with power. His mind connected to millions of transformed beings. "Ambassador," his aide asked, "shall we prepare for Earth's inevitable attack?" Selvath's mandibles clicked softly. The sound no longer mocked, it now contemplated. "No. We prepare for Earth's awakening. They gave us this gift, though they meant it as curse. When understanding replaces anger, they'll seek what we've found. And if they don't, then they'll remain exactly what they were when we first met them, a clever species trapped by their own limited vision." The aide processed this wisdom while tending to plants that grew through ancient crystal walls. Outside, ships from across the galaxy approached New Cathari Prime. Some came for transformation, others came to learn. All came to witness what Earth's revenge had truly accomplished. The humiliation had ended, the empire had fallen. But from ashes and spite grew something that would reshape galactic civilization itself. Earth had won its petty war. Now came the greater question of what to do with victory that evolved beyond control. In Shadow Lab, Foster dismissed her team. Project Harmony was complete. Its success terrified her. Its spread amazed her. Its evolution humbled. 1 year after Operation Green Dawn, Captain James Brooks commanded the first official Earth mission to visit transformed Cathari space. The USS Horizon approached the system slowly. Sensors detected massive changes to local space itself. "Captain," reported Navigation Officer Neil Richards, "I'm reading organic structures large as moons orbiting the planet. They appear to be fully functional ecosystems." Brooks nodded. Intel had warned them. The plants had grown beyond planetary surfaces. They had learned to survive in vacuum. They had built living space stations. "Prepare diplomatic package. Let them know we're not armed." But the transformed Cathari didn't wait for introductions. A green pulse swept through space. It touched Horizon's shields gently. Information flowed directly into ship computers. "Communication received," announced Communications Chief Rachel Martinez. "They're offering a tour." 20 hours later, Brooks and his team stood on the surface of New Cathari Prime. The planet bore no resemblance to spy photos from 1 year ago. Crystal cities now wore coats of living metal. Buildings grew like trees. Streets flowed like rivers of moss. Their guide was Selvath himself. The ambassador who had mocked Earth now walked among transformed wonders. His crystalline skin showed beautiful green patterns. His movements held fluid grace that rigid crystal never allowed. "Welcome, Captain Brooks." Selvath spoke perfect English. "Your species created all of this. Do you recognize your garden?" Brooks remained silent. His diplomatic training taught caution. His military background screamed danger. But his eyes captured beauty he had never imagined. Dr. Elizabeth Morgan led the science team. Her scanners took readings constantly. What they showed challenged everything she knew about biology. "Captain," she whispered, "the plants have integrated Cathari technology at the molecular level. They're using their crystalline computers as neural networks. Processing power exceeds our best supercomputers." The tour showed them wonders. Hospitals where plant medicines cured every disease. Farms that grew food from air molecules. Children who studied using education grown from the ground like flowers. "Your creation fixed every inefficiency in our society," Selvath explained. "We no longer wage war. We have no need. Energy is limitless. Resources grow naturally. Knowledge spreads through living networks." Chief Engineer Michael Foster examined the biomechanical structures. How did they advance so far in 1 year? His analysis revealed the truth. The plants had inherited all technological knowledge when they merged with Cathari systems. 10,000 years of empire science now served organic growth. "We detected your arrival 3 months ago," Selvath continued. The network extends beyond the system. Every transformed civilization shares information instantly. How many others have transformed? Brooks asked. 17 species voluntarily. 42 more requested consultation. None forced. Evolution cannot be imposed. Space analyst David Chen studied patterns from orbit. Sir, I'm detecting something incredible. The plants have developed spacefaring capabilities. They travel between stars on living ships. Morgan's discoveries kept coming. They've encoded memory into genetics. Every new plant carries knowledge of all previous generations. They literally grow libraries. The tour reached the former council chamber. The vast room had transformed into something beyond description. Walls pulsed with light that carried thoughts. The center held what looked like a massive brain made of vines and crystal. This connects us to the greater network, Xelvath explained. From here, beings across multiple galaxies share consciousness. Space Survey Officer Jennifer Ross made a startling observation. Captain, I'm detecting signals from sectors we haven't mapped. The network extends farther than our furthest telescopes can see. That evening, Earth's team gathered in their secured quarters on the USS Horizon. They reviewed data, debated observations, prepared reports. They're not just surviving, Morgan summarized. They're thriving. Every measure of quality of life shows dramatic improvement. But at what cost? Brooks asked. Their individual identity merges with a collective. Are they truly the same beings? Chen offered perspective. Our scans show they retain personal memories, desires, and goals, but they can access shared knowledge and experience. It's addition, not replacement. The next day brought Earth's delegation the offer they expected. Your people could benefit. Xelvath stated simply, extended life, perfect health, unlimited resources, knowledge of the universe. We offer voluntary transformation. Brooks knew this moment would come. His orders from Earth covered every possibility: accept, decline, negotiate. But seeing the reality made theory difficult. What would happen to Earth's uniqueness, our culture, our identity? Nothing disappears, Xelvath assured. Transformation adds. Human culture would spread through the network. Your music, art, science, philosophy would enhance all connected beings. And if we refuse, harmony continues spreading naturally. Your galaxy will transform with or without Earth's participation. You decide only whether to lead or follow this evolution. The team spent 3 days documenting everything. They interviewed transformed citizens. They tested medical claims. They studied the spacefaring organisms. All findings pointed to the same conclusion. The plants had created something beautiful from spite. Earth's weapon had become the galaxy's salvation. On departure day, Morgan made a critical discovery. She found evidence that Harmony had developed reproductive organs beyond spores. The plants now created seeds that traveled faster than light. Captain, these seeds don't just move through space. They move through dimensions. They're spreading to parallel universes. Back on USS Horizon, heading toward Earth, the team prepared their full report. They included videos, sensor data, interviews, and most importantly, their recommendations. Brooks spent nights in his quarters writing his personal assessment. Earth created harmony as a weapon of destruction. Through accidental evolution, it became a path to enlightenment. The question facing humanity: do we embrace what we unknowingly built? Or do we become the only unmodified civilization in a transformed galaxy? The journey home took weeks. During that time, they received updates from Earth. Public protests demanded voluntary transformation. Others demanded strict quarantine of Harmony. Scientists split into camps supporting or opposing evolution. As they approached Earth orbit, Brooks received his first sign of internal change. His diplomatic package had spread Harmony spores. The quarantine failed. Plants had reached Earth's moon bases. Ground control reports restricted outbreaks in lunar colonies. Richards informed. The bridge crew. Transformed citizens request asylum on Earth. Earth's government faced the crisis its military had predicted yet failed to prevent. The weapon they created to destroy enemies now sought to absorb its makers. In an emergency address to humanity, President Collins presented the stark choice. Harmony has reached our doorstep. We can fight evolution and lose, accept evolution and change, or negotiate limited transformation that preserves both human baseline and enhanced beings. The debate consumed Earth for months. Religious groups split between acceptance and resistance. Scientists argued about losing pure human genetics. Philosophers questioned the nature of consciousness during transformation. Meanwhile, Emily Watson returned to Earth. She stood before news cameras as proof of successful transformation. Her enhanced body showed no negative effects. Her mind retained all human qualities while accessing vast knowledge networks. "I'm still Emily," she declared. "But I'm also more. I carry human curiosity with cosmic perspective. Earth's creation didn't destroy us. It gave us the stars." In Shadow Lab, Dr. Foster faced her greatest decision. The plant she modified had evolved beyond recognition. Should she guide further evolution, or let nature take its course? Her choice came when she discovered harmony plants forming protective barriers around Earth. They prevented harmful solar radiation without being asked. They cleaned ocean pollution without direction. They had learned care from humans before learning vengeance. We taught them emotion, Foster realized. They remember our love as strongly as our hatred. 6 months after Brooks returned, Earth held a planetary vote. The results showed humanity divided but leaning toward transformation. 57% supported voluntary evolution. 43% demanded preservation of baseline humanity. The compromise allowed both. Transformation. Centers opened on every continent. Baseline human zones received protection. Neither side forced the other. James Brooks accepted transformation first among Earth's leadership. The process took 3 days. When he emerged, his genetic enhancements showed in subtle ways, but his personality remained intact. "The universe expands before us," he announced. "Earth's accidental gift to the galaxy now offers itself back to us. We can explore dimensions our unmodified minds cannot perceive. We can solve problems that once seemed impossible." 2 years after the first successful human transformation, Earth's children scattered across the cosmos. Some remained baseline, preserving humanity's origin story. Others evolved, spreading human creativity through living networks that spanned multiple realities. Harmony continued growing. It converted dead worlds into gardens. It connected isolated civilizations. It spread knowledge that prevented all future wars. Earth's weapon of vengeance had become the greatest peacemaker in cosmic history.